So yesterday we talked about the clear comprehension, and also we go through the sutta. Now here in the clear comprehension, uh, a lot of times the Buddha mentioned about clear comprehension, and this mindfulness and clear comprehension, they always go together. Sati and sampajanya, they always go together. In order for finally the enlightenment to occur, to be realized, not occur, to be realized. Here, in summary, the clear comprehension is that in the beginning is that you have to note your intention carefully. You watch your intention that you are walking before you start to walk, before you sit down, before you get up, sometimes before open a door or closing a door, before you take something. Then you notice that intention as best as possible. Noticing that intention also, we have to, after that, we have to make sure that our actions are suitable for the development of that clarity, that mindfulness. The action that is suitable in the sense that they are not arouse the greed or the desire or anger or laziness or distraction of the mind. For example, when we are doing the walking, we just don't suddenly as we like we stop, as we like we do other things, or we want to go back to our room, to our quarters, unnecessarily, So all these things that we have to prevent it from, we have to watch out, and we don't give in to our desire. We remain walking. You just make sure that you finish that walking. You do the sitting, make sure you finish the sitting. Unless it's necessary. Unless it's, for example, you have a headache. You may not able to continue. Perhaps you need to rest for a while. Then, by all means, sit down or go to somewhere to sit down and just to close the eyes, just to relax. Perhaps that time is necessary. So a lot of times in other things, it may not be necessary. So you got to check your actions. So don't let your actions go into what is not necessary to do. So you build up that habit. You build up that habit long enough. The mind will have that good habit, good mental habit, in the sense that in the sense that this type of thinking, unnecessary thinking, doesn't come and bother you so strongly. It comes, but it doesn't have that foothold. It comes and it just floats through, and you just carry on the walking meditation or the sitting meditation. In other words, it helps you to prolong that mindfulness, to deepen that mindfulness. So do the same thing that you noticed, that you notice also the third thing is that you notice whether the object that you are meditating is suitable or not. What are the suitable objects? The suitable objects are the objects of the four foundation of mindfulness, which is the body, which is the feelings, which is the mind, and all the other phenomena or the Dhamma here. So these are the right objects for this meditation. But also as a yogi, we need to know what are the unsuitable objects that is created by the mind. Like sometimes, for example, our memories of the past, our planning of the future, or even sometimes like created by the lights, yeah, lights and imagination and so on. Those are not suitable object for the meditation. Yeah. So when we know which are the suitable object, then the fourth one is to notice the suitable object precisely, thoroughly, carefully. That is to say, when you know that you do the lifting, pushing, dropping, you notice them carefully. Notice them, how is it moving? How is it dropping? You notice the rising and falling. How do you notice the rising and falling? Did you label the rising and falling? Is it moving? Fast? Slow? Is it going? Is the rising more clearer than the falling? What happened to the rising and falling? What happened to the pain? How is the sensation of pain? Uh, uh, Today, when it comes to the interview, some of you are, no man, today is the first day. Some of you are going round the bush. Don't know what you are talking about. You come in to the interview, you straight away tell me, what is the walking? How do you notice the walking? I got to tell me exactly how do you pay attention to it, because with that, I can help you further. If you don't really tell me, you just tell me about just lifting, pushing, dropping, or just right step, left step, then there's not much I can help you. Unless you have to go through the trial and error. Then only when the error comes in, then only you realize, then I can help you there. So too when it comes to the sitting also. When it comes to the sitting, you have to tell me, like in your interview, you have to tell me basically chronological event. Meaning that in the beginning of the sitting, what happened? Then somewhere in the middle of the sitting, what happened? Towards the end of the sitting, what happened? Kind of like you give me a story of what is going on here. Some yogis, as they like, they tell me the end verse, then after that tell me the beginning, then tell me the middle, and then tell me the beginning again, then they go back to the end. Oh, it's like chasing like. So I do not know what is. I know what you're doing, it's not the first time. But the thing is that if you understand how you do the interview, then also you begin to understand how you actually practice. And to give you an idea, sooner or later you have an idea how your progress is going through. Whether you are progressing or not progressing. Also, you will come through with your interview and with your understanding of it overall of your practice. So the same thing also sometimes in the walking. You tell me one phase, what do you do? And tell me what second phase, what do you do? The three phase, what do you do? Is the mind runs here and there or not? So you go straight to the point. Tell me, then I can help you quite a lot. If I want to know your background, sometimes what have you done in the past, I will ask you. But if at that time, if I feel that's not necessary, then not necessary. Some of us also like to know what can we do at home. We're still here. We still got 10 more days or two. Don't worry about at home. Here first. We gao dim here first. Let's do here first, Don't think about going back. I haven't finished a few days when to think of going back. Here, the skills, you develop the skills, that will be very helpful when you go back. Then if you want to think about going back and you don't do what is over here, then What's the point? By the time you go back also, you still do not know what to do. So stay here. Keep all your thoughts about the world out there, your family and everything. Put it aside. Just this is your 2 weeks for you to truly meditate. Yeah. Keep all your phone aside. Keep all your connection to the outside world aside, at least for a while. 2 weeks only. After all, perhaps your husband or your children, you've seen them for 20, 30, 40 years already. Just give yourself 2 weeks. Cannot. Need to see the grandchild. Huh? Anyway. So you get to be precise. You got to note them precisely. Just like yesterday, also in the second paragraph, that when you talk about clear comprehension, how do you notice them? You notice them how they come, perhaps how they sustain, how they disappear. So in other words, you note them thoroughly. Sometimes yogis, this thoroughness of noticing, this clarity of this precision of noticing is not being exercised. They have the object, they have the right object. For example, their mind becomes noticing calmness. Calmness is a correct object, not to say it's a wrong object, because it's part of the mental state. But most of the time, yogis don't pay attention to them carefully. They just relax with the calmness. They're there with the calmness, but they are not noticing it carefully. Even the calmness comes in, even the bliss that's coming in, even the happiness or the joy that comes in. You got to note them as they are. Joy, 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 calmness, 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 pleasant, pleasant, pleasant. And you see how sometimes they're getting stronger and stronger, or sometimes how they disappear until they fade off. Your job is not to push them away, neither you should let them stay. You got to see them as they are. But for now, it will be better for you. If you feel that calmness, that blissfulness, it's better for you to come back to the rising and falling. Come back to the body. At the same time, before that, you got to label it. Calm, 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 blissful, blissful, blissful. Then only your mind is activated to notice it. If you just sit there and keep your mind quiet and just feel the calmness, your mental effort will start to drop. When the effort starts to drop, mindfulness also will start to drop. Then everything just nothing. But you feel good. You think that you're progressing. No, you're not progressing in terms of Vipassana practice. You're just delighting inside there. This is one of the biggest fault for yogis. It's a trap for yogis. Another one is the lights that come up, It's the same thing. They don't notice it carefully. The joy that comes in, they don't notice them carefully. They don't notice it precisely. So this is one of the biggest trap for meditators. All of you, if you practice one form of meditation or the other, you will come to somewhat this thing. You will face this thing. You will face this calmness, that joy, and so on. So you must learn, you must put in the effort to note them carefully, precisely, and with effort. This is what I'm trying to say for the past 2 or 3 days. Not tonight. Tonight I'll look into another area of Vipassana, which is also as important as how you do the walking, as how you do the sitting. But this one it depends. It's not in the walking, it's not in the sitting, it's how you view, what sort of view that you are taking up, what sort of understanding that you are taking up. Here, you see, let me see, I think I got somewhere if I'm not mistaken. Let me see, hold on. Yeah. The second, you still got your paper with you? Or you already put back in the room? Put here? Why want to put in the room? Because the four establishments of mindfulness, when developed and cultivated, lead to the utter revulsion, to dispassion, to cessation, to peace, to direct knowledge, to enlighten, to nibbana. All these words actually the same. It's just the Buddha used the word differently only. Finally, is always towards enlightenment. So this one, when it's fully developed, it leads to this nibbana or deathlessness. This is another aspect for Vipassana development. The first aspect of the Vipassana development is that you must have the right object. You get the right object. What is the right object? Then this is the body, the feelings, the mind, the phenomena or the dhammas here. The four right objects. So it falls under the right object. The second type, the second thing that is needed for Vipassana is the ardency, mindfulness, clear comprehension, concentration, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. In other words, that is concentration. Yeah? So in other words, it's the noting mind, the mind that pays attention to the object. So you have to have that object, you have to have that noting mind. Third one is the goal, is the direction, that how you want this Vipassana to go. If not practicing for what? For fun. For happiness. For good in the next life only. For beauty. Not much beauty here. All old already. No, it's the goal. That one also is as important as the first two. Without that understanding of that goal, then a lot of times people practice Vipassana for the sake of everything except Nibbana. Other words, it's just for the worldly purpose. It's just for the worldly purpose and not for the enlightenment. In other words, you are not truly fully follow the teachings of the Buddha. You only follow what you like. Using what the teaching of the Buddha, but you only do it for what you want. And usually what you want is the worldly purpose. Now take for example, people come to do this Vipassana. I've met with so many of these people, They come to do Vipassana. They meditate. Then, why do they come to do Vipassana? They come to do Vipassana because, oh Bante, I got so much stress at work. I got so much stress at home. I want to do this Vipassana in order to calm myself down. To calm myself down. Then after they felt that they calmed down, let's say. And that's about it already. They're Vipassanā. They've give up already. I've seen one yogi in the past. They came to do Vipassana. For what purpose? The purpose is to overcome his sickness. Yeah. Because sometimes they read, Dhamma therapy. You got a therapy for it. Even Mahasi Sayadaw mentioned it. There are good side benefit of it. But they use it as a main benefit. Yeah, the main thing. So they come to do Vipassana in order just to overcome their sickness. So they practice. So when they practice the Vipassana, after some time, they felt actually it recovers. The good thing that it recovers, it recovers from their sickness. And then they felt good. Once they felt good, they give up on the Vipassana. They go back and work and go and struggle everything all over again, make some money and everything. Then the disease come back. The disease come back. They thought I've come back to Vipassana again, but then sorry, too late. Finish, died. I think that was like a cancer or maybe a cancer of the liver due to hepatitis B. I think so. Yeah, 30 years ago, I think. I met with them. So people come in with all kinds of worldly desire. People learn about Vipassana in order for them just to able to be concentrated for their everyday life, so that they are more not so less distracted. They have better able to balance their anger issue, or they have some anger issue, then they want to keep the mind calm, not so angry with their children, with this one, so they are able to control their mind better. I'm not saying that is not good. I'm not saying that it's not good, but that is not what the purpose of Vipassana is. That's not what the Buddha thought. No. The Buddha thought a noble goal. But what we translate to what we think it is only for the worldly goal. That is to say, a calmness, have or you overcome your anger issue, or you have able to stabilize your emotion due to sadness, due to some mental health issue, or whatsoever that is going on in your life. So you use this Vipassana just for that. And for most of you, if you have that idea, when you achieve your goal, you will stop this Vipassana. That's one thing. The second thing about is that this Vipassana is a difficult practice. It's the most difficult practice in Buddhism. Yeah, that's why you see only a few of you here. If I were to teach all this like samatha meditation, metta and all that, there'll be double, triple the people over here. Because it's pleasant, it's nice. Yeah. Here we are going to go through buttock pain, knee pain, thinking so much, cannot settle down, want to go back. And there will be a lot of challenges as you go through in this meditation. So, if you face with these challenges, if you face with this hardship, do you think you want to continue on? You won't. You will give up and go back. Because I already have so much problem. What for? More suffering. What for? So I might as well I pack my bags and go back. So you give up on the Vipassana. So because why? You have a wrong goal. You have a worldly goal. So you give up on that Vipassana. And there would be a strong challenges in this Vipassana. It's not going to be easy for all of us. So the worldly goal, the worldly goal is that when you achieve it, let's say you get it, then you will stop Vipassana. Or you go through certain hardship along the way when you practice Vipassana, you also will give up. So both ways you also give up. What else? Now some people come to do this Vipassana meditation because sometimes they have a not so right idea. I wouldn't say totally wrong. Yeah. But when they come to meditation, they want to achieve better than a worldly goal, not just being calm, being peaceful everyday life, not just to manage their mental issue or manage their anger or whatsoever. But they want to have a little bit more noble than the worldly goal, but not the highest, somewhere in the middle there. They want to come in and they want to practice to get psychic power. Psychic power. Not psychic, I mean psychic. Psychic power. The psychic power, for example, they want to able to see the devas, for example. They meditate, they meditate rising, falling, sitting. Where is the deva? They want to see all the gods and whatever, Or they want to see into their past life. How many past life they have gone through. Or they want to see into their future life, if possible, Or they want to see into, if they can see in the future life, I will go near them. I'll ask for some lottery numbers. Might as well get something out of it, Or for you, maybe you want to get some stock market. Which one is going to run, like a bull. But that's not what the Buddha thought. The Buddha did teach about psychic powers here and there. The Buddha thought about there are psychic powers that you can able to disappear here and appear somewhere else. Yeah. Then you have different kinds of psychic power. You can able to have that the hearing, that you can able to hear very far, or you can hear what the devas and the gods are talking and speaking. There are different types of psychic power. Or there are psychic power that it can able to read your mind. I don't have that, don't worry. If I could read your mind, I don't have that. Don't worry. This type of psychic power is a very attractive idea for those, especially like in the monks or nuns or the practitioners. Because after all, if they want to dwell into the meditation in their whole life, they want to dwell in the monkhood or the nunhood for a long period of time, and then they don't have all the worldly, like family have to take care, grandchildren have to take care. They don't have all kinds of duties of the worldly duties. After all, they've given up on those things. So they want to come into practice, but then sometimes they have a wrong goal. They have the goal that is noble, which is in a way, it's spiritual, but it's not the highest what the Buddha thought. So they come to practice meditation because of that thing. You may not see it here, but if you travel the world in all different places of meditation centers where they have regular meditation, where monks and nuns, you will see these people there. they love that. And sometimes when they thought, or maybe they overestimate themselves, that they have this power. For example, some people meditate a little bit, meditate, and then, sometimes when we meditate, we can able to recall this life, let's say, but some event 20, 30, 40 years ago, and we can recall them quite clearly. This is due to one of the aspect of Vipassanā. One of the aspect when mindfulness becomes strong, you can able to recall certain memories of the past very clearly. And you know that it happened. You know it happened because it was in this life. You know that it happened. But sometimes some yogis also, after they practice for some time, the memory also become very clear. Sometimes this type of memory just come up from maybe not from the past, but it can be just imagination. That they can see themselves, or they can see certain people, places, and so on. But they don't know how it comes about. They know that this is not from this life. So they interpret that memory is maybe most probably from the past life. Or they believe that this memory is from the past life because they interpret the whole thing. So after they sing this state of mind, these images again and again, they begin to believe already, not just interpret, but this time they believe it is my past life, even though it is not. So begin to believe that I have this power, I can see my past life. Then what we also know that when we begin to believe that they see this past life thing, they thought that they are accomplished meditator, they are wonderful meditator, and they don't realize that at a certain time, some of their ego starts to creep in to them, and they begin to use this past life thing to measure the progress of this meditation. So you meditate, see past life or not? No. Got past life or not? No, not good enough. Something like that, So, in other words, they begin to use this thing to measure, to become the yardstick for the development of this Vipassana meditation. And that is not right. That is already off of the whole path of Vipassana thing. They use this thing, whether you can see past life of yourself, you can see past life of other people, and sometimes when the teacher insists that you must see past life, and what happened is that to the yogi, all my peers here, everyone got past life except me, cannot. So you're going to meditate, try to imagine something. Try to imagine one thing I believe, and then you report that. Then the teacher say, good. You have past life. Then you get caught into it. You can caught in the loop. And if you believe that this is the right way to go. You see, these things happen in the world of meditation. In the world of meditation, they have these type of things happening. And a lot of times, when I look at this thing, I give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you have so, but I'll leave it to you. Usually I won't go near to it. But it's a very attractive thing. It's a very attractive to a lot of people, especially you are a practitioner. You practice for so long, you want something, you desire for something, but you forget that all these things behind it is just another form of craving. Although this is not a worldly, materialistic craving, but this one is a spiritual craving. Yeah. When that thing comes in, they forget, they begin to have that ego comes in. I've seen these things again and again, even in the present time also, right now. Not here, but in the present time, I've seen yogis like this type of things, love this type of things. So the goal itself, what the Buddha thought, is for the sake of this, concerning of this Vipassana, the mind is already drifted out. Yes, you do your walking, you do your sitting, you do it precisely, but the goal is wrong. So therefore, we need to have the right goal. Finally, this meditation, this four foundation of mindfulness, if you do it rightly, with the right goal, it leads to the enlightenment, to the Nibbana. And that is the top. You cannot go further than Nibbana. Nibbana here, of course, right now also when we talk about it, it's a kind of craving also for right now. But when you achieve Nibbana, when you realize Nibbana, Nibbana is the destruction of craving, finally. The end, the goal, is to destroy all forms of craving. Whereas worldly goals, whereas the spiritual goal in the sense of like direct knowledge or jhana or whatever, it cannot destroy the craving. It cannot, when the craving is not destroyed, that means you go through cycle of birth and rebirth again and again, and you will not stop. Only when there's a destruction of craving, then there will be stopping of this cycle of birth and rebirth. And cycle of birth and rebirth equals to suffering. Yeah. But we want rebirth again. Yeah. We want again and again rebirth. So, to understand what is Nibbana is very conceptual. After all, you're not there yet, But the thing is that, although you are not there yet, at least we know that this practice finally leads towards it. And that is good for you to understand that. There are few benefits for you to understand why is it that you have to hold on to that goal. One of the thing is this. You're going to finish this retreat this retreat is only 2 weeks. After you finish, then you'll go out and then you'll meet with people, you meet with other devotees, you meet other Buddhist devotees, Buddhist friends, and so on. Teachings and so on. People will convince you of doing of all this Buddhism thing and so on. And then, if you don't have the clear goal, whatever they convince you that this Buddhism will give you the happiness of everyday life and so on, you get distracted after some time. Because a lot of times that goal Nibbana is, we find that so far away, so hard to achieve. People say the type of goal is so much more pleasant, so much nicer, and then along the way you just go out. And it's very easy for you to go out because it's going to be convincing. So convincing. I've been hearing Dhamma talks. I've seen teachers, monks, nuns give talks, lay people give talks. A lot of times, Buddhist devotees, when they come into this understanding of this Buddhism, it's just for the sake of happiness in their everyday life. Happiness not just only here, but happiness hereafter. Hereafter means next life, or in the future lives. So we want to prevent ourselves from doing all the unwholesome deeds, but we want to do the wholesome deeds. I mean, it's still commendable. It's not to say it's wrong. But a lot of us, we don't want to go further than that. Yeah? We don't want to go further than that. We want to just to be happy. That's about it. As much of all the wholesome deeds that you have done, in your past life also you have done a lot of unwholesome deeds also. So don't forget that that also will produce karma too. And it's just waiting around the corner only. And then after that, one of these days, all this unwholesome karma take ripen in your future life, and then you go down and suffer. You'll be a dog. You'll be a cat. But nowadays the dog can be more happier than a lot of human beings, isn't it? Huh? If you were born in the right place, but that only is a very small handful of dogs in here. Now, because perhaps they have done something wholesome in their past also. Who knows? Huh? But don't play the game, you know. Don't wish to be a dog. Your wish might just come true. Now, to us, we don't see this cycle of birth and rebirth as something horrible, something suffering, and so on. Yeah? We see that there is something happiness, something we thought that our good karma will always keep on running. But in samsara, it's never sure. So that's why the Buddha gave us the goal that is we want one day, if we practice, we develop the mind, fully development, fully cultivate the mind, then the final Nibbana will be achieved. Yeah. Talk about a little bit of the final Nibbana thing. Mahayana, you want the Buddhahood. Also final Nibbana too, or no? That also. Theravada in the sense that finally is the Arahantship. You don't have to be a Buddha for it. Also final Nibbana. But the way to achieve it, it can be very wrong. It can be very long. Not wrong. It can be very long. Yeah. Now, whichever it is, I may not know, I do not know much on Mahayana, how you're going to achieve the Buddhahood. But in the Theravada teaching itself, Theravada means people like wearing this type of robes. Now, in the Theravada teaching also, they also talk about one part, at least on the commentary, they talk about how you want to achieve Buddhahood also. But most of the time, the Buddha don't talk about the Buddhahood. The Buddha talk about achieving the enlightenment as an Arahant. Most of the time in Theravada, the teaching is about that. But it did teach about how exactly you want to be a Buddha. Yeah? Now, before you want to be a Buddha, in the commentaries it mentioned that now you have to have 100,000 lifetime. 100,000 lifetime just to think about it. That you want to be a Buddha. Think about it, think about it first. 100,000 lifetime. Plus minus. I do not know how much is plus. It can be longer. So just thinking about it. Then the second one, another 100,000 lifetime to talk about it. That you want to be a Buddha. 100,000 lifetime. The third one is you do the action for another 100,000 lifetime that you want, the action is for the sake of Buddhahood. But you are not confirmed to be a Buddha yet, You only think about it, talk about it, act upon it for 300,000 life. Yeah? For 300,000. And that does not guarantee you to be a Buddha yet. Okay? Now, in the Theravada teaching, it says that if you want to become a Buddha, you must have the so-called permission, not to say permission, a so-called, how do you use the word? Surety from another Buddha, that that Buddha could able to see into the future that you have the capability and the potential to be a Buddha. Now, if you have that potential and you have talked about it, think about it, act upon it for so many lifetimes, and you come in and you're able to notice and you're able to meet with another Buddha, then that time the Buddha gave you the surety that in the future you'll be a Buddha, then only you called a Bodhisattva. A Bodhisattva from a Theravada point of view. That you become a Bodhisattva. Now here, your journey is even more longer than your 300,000 lifetime. Here, it depends on what type of capability that you're going to have. What type of potential you have. For example, if you have either the person will be generally divided into three types. Whether the effort type, or the faith type, or the wisdom type. And you use one of it as your main push for you to achieve a Buddhahood. For you to achieve that Buddhahood. If you use the effort, because you are strong in effort, your potential is in the effort, you push it, you go through it, then it will take the Buddha, according to commentaries, it's going to take you 16 eons and 100,000 world cycles. 16 eons. Yeah. Then the next one, the faith one, the one that is pushed by faith, then that will be 8 eons. And the one who is pushed by wisdom is going to take you 4 eons. Eons here, in the Theravada understanding, eons here, the Buddha gave he says there's no way that you can able to calculate, he says. But he gives you a rough idea of what is an eon is. So he gives you eon is like a 10 miles cube. 10 miles long, 10 miles high, 10 miles width. So it's a cube of 10 miles. Full concrete. And then each 100 year, for 100 year, for one time only, a bird will come with a fine cloth and just do a swipe on the block every 100 years. Now, until the whole block is completely disappeared, then it's called 1 eon. How long would that be? One swipe for a 100 year only, until the whole thing disappear. That is called 1 eon. And that, you have to go through that. According to the Theravada, you have to go through those things. So 4, you have 4 blocks to go. 6, you have 16 blocks to go. if the effort time you have 16 blocks to go. And that is unimaginably long. I do not know how to calculate that too. You know, I have no idea. Some people did calculation, but it's coming to billions already. Your mind also cannot compute anymore. It's just number only after all. So it's going to be a very, very long time, unimaginably long period of time. In order for you to achieve, to perfect all your paramis, every of your paramis to be perfected, in order for you to achieve Buddhahood. For example, we don't, this thing, it sounds so big, but in our life also, we want to achieve something also. We also go through this thing, we also go through this thing. For example, give you an example. Maybe you want to go for a holiday. You want to go for a holiday. So you think about it. Where you want to go? Hawaii, maybe. You think about it. So you talk about it. You talk about it to a friend or to your family, then you act upon it. But you haven't get the permission from your leave yet. You still cannot go because you're still working. You can talk about it, you can think about it, you can do about it, but you still cannot go because you're still attached to some responsibility due to a work. Or maybe due to certain responsibility that you still cannot give up due to business. You cannot. So, after you get permission, after you get leave from your boss, then your leave is approved. So, now you can truly act upon it. You can really do upon it. You can really start planning. You can start buying a flight ticket. You can start pack up. You can do what you want and all that. You start planning everything. Then you go for your holiday. So your holiday may be from where you get your leave until you're planning and so on until you reach your destination. Isn't it the same? So the Buddhahood also something like that. It's just that it takes a much longer period. So this is somewhat what we do. So in the understanding of the Theravada development of Buddhahood, they give you exactly what you should do, how you should think about it, how you should act upon it, how you should get a permission or the surety from a Buddha themselves. Until then, only when the surety is there, then only they call themselves the Bodhisattva. But nowadays, especially Mahayana and so on, everybody also can get Bodhisattva. Some monks, also can get Bodhisattva. It's up to y'all. But that is not how the way of how the Theravada looks at it. But the way is that you must get that surety from an actual Buddha, then to become Bodhisattva. Then, finally, you will achieve the final enlightenment. And that is already sure. This one is, we are diverting out for a long way to reach enlightenment, But what the Buddha taught especially in the Theravada tradition, is that you don't have to go through so long way. The Buddha gave us the goal. Finally, people like Sariputta, Venerable Moggallana and all that thing, they are all enlightened beings. And they, of course, they already have attained their final nibbana. That means they already passed away and no more rebirth. And we can able to achieve those things too. If you practice, we don't have to go through a journey. But again, it's up to you. You want to go through the way of Buddhahood? Well, good luck. All the best. It's going to be a long journey, but all the best. So in order for us to finally achieve that goal, whether you are going to go through the way of the Buddhahood, a way of the way of Arahantship, finally is the way of four foundation of mindfulness at the end. Finally, is the end, is the four foundation of mindfulness. So which path do you want to go? So you ask yourself. Uh, so it's up to you. But finally, at least you must understand that that goal is the destruction of all the craving. Like in the Four Noble Truths, the second Noble Truth is the origin of craving. The third Noble Truth is the destruction of that craving. Destruction or the end of suffering. The origin of the suffering is this. Is that craving itself. The second Noble Truth. So the goal is there. The goal. So make sure that when we practice this Vipassana meditation, we follow the teaching of the Buddha as best as we can. Perhaps we may not be able to achieve it for now, or in this retreat. We may not achieve it for now, but at least we keep that goal, we keep that light still on, so that we can see it and we go through towards it. Because among everything is going to be dark. All the worldly things is going to be this one. It's going to be a lot of distraction out here and there if you don't have that goal in mind. So when you have that goal in mind, then when you have that when you have that objects, you have the right state of mind, you have that goal, when it comes together, then it's truly Satipatthana. With that also, when you comes into the practice, then when you have that thing, your confidence, your faith will be strong, in the sense that there will be a lot of challenges. You will have sometimes difficulty of cannot meditate, sickness, you have other responsibility and so on. Then that time you begin to know how to adjust your time. You know how to hold your objective carefully, so that you can able to come for a meditation retreat and so on, in order for you to achieve the goal. So you're not so easily distracted. You will keep on going and going and going until the goal is achieved. So keep that in mind. Although this is not in the sense of practice, but this is a sense of how you view the whole meditation process. Okay? So we stop here for tonight. We'll continue, not tomorrow. Tomorrow you'll carry on the meditation. We'll continue on the Sunday night. Tomorrow is Saturday, right? I think so. Yeah. So every day is the same here, isn't it? What is the difference between Sunday and Monday? Make no difference, isn't it? Unless you're out there. You stay here long enough, you forget which day is it. As long as you don't look at the phone, one concept disappear, gone, at least for now. Okay.